Like, edit like all the weirdness out.
Absolutely. Dating service. Yeah, here we go. All right. So, yeah, it was 1 year ago this month that, like I said, you found your Shiro.
My Shiro.
Shiro. I've never heard that term before. I love that.
It's not my term.
Well, it is now. Just take it. Own it.
It really was Rachel and Dave Hollis's term. I've got to give them credit.
But 1 year ago, there's this crazy thing called the 90-Day Challenge, and that's where we looked at things completely differently. There it is, the last 90 days. And that's where it's been a complete shift, like I said, in our business and in our personal life.
And professional life.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess that is business.
Yeah, professional, business.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I got a shovel. Don't worry, I can dig it.
Oh, my word. But anyway, I just
Can you smell? Sorry, that was a Rock reference. What the Rock is cooking. All right.
Okay. But that is like something I've really been thinking about is like what would have happened, like what would have our life looked like had we not gone on this journey.
Oh man.
And I don't really want to spend a lot of time there because that's not the stuff that we want to envision, because we have spent the last year and current and going forward really thinking and dreaming and putting plans into place on where we want to go. And where we not only just where we want to go, but like how we've like picked up a lot of momentum.
Yeah.
And I think 2019 really is a year of momentum.
No, we know 2019 has been a year of momentum.
We know 2019 has been a year of momentum. And sometimes momentum, you can be like going off course. You can go faster than you even realize. But we're here and we're still building momentum.
Absolutely. It doesn't stop. I mean, unless you're going fast in the speed of light, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
That was a nerd thing right there.
Thank you, Will.
You're
I don't even
welcome.
know what you're referencing, but...
Speed of light, like if you're in a car traveling at the speed of light, you turn the headlights on, what happens? It's...
Okay.
Dark.
Yeah. yeah, because it can't go any faster.
But it kind of occurred to me this morning. Today, we were a little bit late. I don't know if anyone can tell, but I have a little bit of a head cold.
Just getting over it, yep.
And it's getting much better. So we would have done this goal setting last week in our team meeting, but I was sick. And so it was delayed a week, and that's okay because that's life. But today, as a team, it was our last 90-day goal setting. We set goals as a team every 90 days, and we've been focusing this last year on personal goals and professional goals. And as I was getting ready, and I was even looking at my own goals that I set, I was like, wow, I was really ambitious 90 days ago. We set these back in July, beginning of July. Like, wow, I was really ambitious. I think almost too ambitious, where I had too many goals that I didn't get enough done.
Mm-hmm.
Which, Will, talk to me about what a rock is.
All right, so this is not my concept. This is from the book Traction. It's a business book. I do believe it's by Gino Wickman. And it's my second time listening through it. My uncle Scott Gwaltney, actually recommended this book to me about a year ago, actually, and I've listened to it twice since. There's a lot of great strategy in this book. It's fantastic, but there's something that they call about rocks, your quarterly rocks. And I may have kind of took this and like twisted it to fit our narrative and needs a little bit, but I think it's fantastic. I think I truly encaptured the spirit of what they're talking about with the rocks.
Because it made our entire team think differently about our goal setting today.
Absolutely.
And that's really what I thought was so cool that you could talk about.
Well, thank you. So literally think of it as a rock. If you have something that you want to accomplish, think of it as a rock. And how big is that rock? I mean, you can only physically carry so many rocks at one time. So what do you want to do? Do you want to carry small rocks or big rocks? And the reason I ask this is because think of the whole analogy. You throw a pebble into a pond and you get a ripple effect out. And it's not a very big ripple, but there's still an effect from that small ripple. Now you take a large rock or maybe even a boulder and you throw that into the water, man, you're going to get a massive reaction.
Tsunami.
Tsunami? Yeah. But that is what you want to do. When you have a rock, it needs to have a massive impact on what you're going to be doing for your life. You don't want to have these little ones and they're not going to make a massive impact. And now, yes, a lot of little ones will add up. So I don't want to downplay this. I'm not trying to say that this is the right way to do everything, but this is the right way, how we thought about it. So when you come up with a goal or a rock, you might be carrying that rock for a very long time because it's not always 90 days in order to get something done. We had somebody on our team today, they wanted their rock. Like we said, what's your rock? What's your goal? What do you want to work on? And she goes, my self-thought. She's her and image awareness. And that just really hit me. That struck me. And I'm like, that is a massive rock. And if that's the first thing that comes to your mind, you need to focus on that and that alone. What's going to happen is that rock's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And soon it's going to be a pebble, and you're going to be able to take that and put it in your pocket. And then you can pick up a different rock. You can pick up a different boulder. But you physically can only hold so many things. You can physically only and mentally only do so many things at one time. So figure out what your rocks are, the ones that are going to make the biggest impact in your life, and go after them.
And that's something that we did that we weren't doing as a team and personally, where I would have a list of like 4 professional goals I was trying to accomplish, 4 personal goals I was trying to accomplish. My hands, when we talk about this rock analogy, my arms were tired. Like I couldn't even get the stuff I wanted to get done on either category because I had too many goals. And I felt like today was the very first time that I'm confident that we're going to see more momentum and, let's claim the word, more traction on some of the things that have maybe been holding us back. And I just thought that was really a cool thing to kind of think through as we've talked about goals and goal setting over the last year, because when I look at my goals and things that I was trying to accomplish a year ago, I don't think I've accomplished any of them because I picked too many. And today I picked 2 because I figured realistically that's what I can probably do in this whole rock analogy.
And you picked up some big rocks. I mean, those are some large things that you're trying to accomplish and trying to carry. And when you take care of one, when one of them is just, you've done it so well, it's now a pebble, it's now a habit, it's now a part of who you are, it's in your DNA, and you put that in your pocket, that's when you can pick up another one.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to not pick up another rock and finish that other one that you have.
Yep.
Maybe you need to make sure that your arms are empty and maybe that translates into your heart being open and your mind being open, ready to take on these new challenges, because if you can't focus on 1 or 2 things at a time, you're not going to be able to focus on 4, 5, or 9 things at a time. And one of the things that we
excuse me.
One of the things that we decided to do was our time blocking. Time blocking and routine. Now, that crosses over into personal and business all day long. And that's a pretty big rock. Taking care of your time blocking for your morning ritual, for your eating habits, for meal prepping, for your business planning, for your business execution, for lead generation, for new appointments, for personal time, for date night, for weekends off. I mean, so time blocking and is a huge thing. And one thing that I said, web presence, and that means so much, but exactly, it does mean so much, because I need to analyze what we need to do for I don't want to talk too much about this on the business side, but we need to analyze what we need to do for our web presence. And it may be one large rock, but you can break that rock up into smaller stones. But unless you know what it is, you can't really attack it.
And I really think we listened to a book this month, maybe a couple weeks ago, on a road trip to Kansas City. Marie Forleo's Everything is Figure Outable.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
And if anyone hasn't heard of Marie or have not read or listened to this book, I highly recommend it, because it kind of breaks it down where you might have like these, I'm kind of be like mixing books together here, but these huge things that you think are big challenges, or maybe they're goals that you want to accomplish but you don't even know how to start. She literally wrote a book about how everything is figure outable.
What happened when you heard the title?
I don't remember.
Weren't you so excited to show it to me?
Oh yeah. Will, we can figure out everything now. And really it was Marie, what she says in this book, one of her big takeaways is, if you can't figure it out,
it's not a problem.
It's not a problem. What is it, Will?
It's a fact.
It's a fact. If you can't figure it out, then it's not a problem. Then move on.
I loved it. And here's a crazy example. You're not going to go up on your roof and jump off and fly.
Yeah.
You can't, because it's a fact that you can't do that.
Yep.
But if you need to get from here to there, you can figure it out. But you're not going to physically fly like Superman.
And Will always tells me anytime I panic or get worried or am fearful or basically anytime I stress, will say to me, don't worry, we'll figure it out. And sometimes that's super irritating that then now there's a book called Everything is Figure Outable. And I'm like, well, Marie took your title, Will. But it really is true. As you start to break it down, everything is figure outable if it's meant to be changed.
Absolutely. And what does Rachel Hollis always say? You're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that saying because we're exactly where we're supposed to be in our lives. The moment, the exact time where we are physically, mentally, everything. Because if you're not supposed to be where you are, then you don't know where you have to go. Does that make sense? I mean, you have to be where you are to get to where you want to go. So don't feel bad about the past. You can't change that. Don't be upset about the present because it's already here. All you can do is focus on what you can do next.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big challenge for some people.
Yeah.
And it's been a pretty big challenge for you.
Yeah.
It's been a pretty big challenge for myself in the business world. But for the last year since you've really gotten into the mind shift set, excuse me, shouldn't have ate at Whole Foods right before we got here. But in the last 2 years, it's really been everything's figured out. We can figure it out has always been my motto. Just ask anybody that's ever known me for long. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Well, we're not going to figure this one out. We'll figure it out.
And guess what? We figure it out. So it's been an amazing year, and 1 year ago is when the Rachel Hollis 90-day challenge has truly changed our lives.
And every single day or every single week or month or whatever you want to call it, if you really do self-reflecting, you're going to learn so much about who you are if you just take some time to reflect. Last week I took some time to reflect, and I was writing my bio, like about me, like who am I? And I wrote this bio maybe 2 weeks ago, and it was very vanilla and very vague and whatever. And then last week I'm like, no, let me try this again, and let me actually put some grit to my bio on who I am, and maybe it's a little bit scary. The first thing that came to my mind is I'm a perfectionist. I'm a recovering perfectionist. And the reason I can say that is because it's like, where Will says we can figure it out, we'll figure it out. Marie Forleo, everything's figure outable. Rachel Hollis, just do it. Like, just start. Sometimes when you're a recovering perfectionist, you don't want to start until you know it's going to be perfect. And the thing I've been telling myself for the last week is just a little phrase, and that is, what is it? It was done, but not perfect.
Yeah, it's better to
start and get something done than wait for perfection to happen.
Absolutely.
Because you might be waiting your whole darn life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where some of these, even goals today, where I was just like, I want to work on my time blocking. And to me, I'm going to start, because time blocking is huge, I'm going to start with just, let me figure out my life between 5:30 in the morning and 8 a.m.
And this is not to say we've made huge strides in time blocking. Massive. Yeah. I mean, we know what we're doing every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 9 to 1. We know what we're doing every Monday morning. We know what we're doing every Friday afternoon. We know what we're doing. It's just always refining it. That rock is becoming smaller for us.
Yeah.
But it's still one of our main rocks.
But so often, the perfectionist in me won't even want to start.
Until it's all done.
Yeah.
And then that's not how things work.
That is not how things work. So one of the things, I guess, a piece of wisdom I could pass on, which I struggle with even saying this, but just get started, just get something done, and then refine it. It's a lot easier to edit than it is to write.
To create, absolutely.
Than to create.
I love that.
That was one thing I was thinking about. What other things have been on our mind lately, Will?
Well, one thing I have written down here is I want to talk about future sight. Now, when I say this, when I say this, it's forward thinking, future sight. Yeah, let me have a drink of water quick.
There's a lot of. There's a lot of.
That was for
What
you.
kind of water is that?
That was for you. It's stupid expensive water.
No, it is so delicious.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's from 2 miles deep. It does taste. It tastes
It's
really
super
good.
smooth water. There's like.
This is what you get, Facebook land. This is the unedited stuff.
Because my wife and I love Fiji water.
Yeah,
and
so do
she's
we.
like, it costs more and it's just water. And I'm like, no,
No,
seriously, it tastes
It's so I love Fiji water.
better.
This is like if I had to pick between this or a Fiji water, I don't know which one I would pick.
Oh, that one all day long.
Really?
It depends on what size Fiji water, because sometimes I like the water to fit in my cup holder.
Yeah, right, exactly.
and
Oh,
this
hashtag
doesn't.
first world problems. All right. So, one of the things I like to talk about as well is with picking your rocks, setting your goals, and just life planning and business planning is you need to know the steps to get to where you want to be. And let me explain this. Say if you have a 9-step program that you're going to use to run a 5K. Okay? And say step 1 is this, step 2 is this, step 3, and so on and so on and so on. Say something happens and step 3 gets screwed up. That's okay, because you know what step 4 is and you know what step 5 is. So step 3 can get messed up as long as you know what the end goal is and what your next step needs to be in order to correct that issue to continue to move forward. And that is this is a really passionate subject for me. Is why am I so phlegmy? I'm good. It's a really passionate subject for me. It's because you need to know what the end goal is or what your desired end goal is in order to start something with the purpose.
Yep.
And if you don't know what you need to do in between there to get there, I mean, yes, start. I get that. Start, because if you don't start, you can never finish. But you need to be mindfully thinking about what your next steps are. And not just the next step, the step after that, the step after that, and the step after that. That's where this 90 days, every 90 days comes into play. Because this really, really breaks down a year for us in a way where we can say our year has 4 steps to it. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. We know what we want to do in a year. Here's our first step. Here's our first rock that we have to tackle. Here's our first goal. So when you start something, start with the finish in mind, but not necessarily know everything you have to do to get there, but the steps and the actions that it's going to require.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I also think it's important because, remember, recovering perfectionists here.
Yep.
If you fail or if you fumble or if you, fall down, get back up. And all you've just taught yourself is what you're not going to do next time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all those failures are just ways of educating where you actually, like, course correcting is really how it is. But for too long, and I've struggled with that even this year, is I'll hold on to those failures and, like, I'll remind myself of those times that I failed and why I shouldn't win. And it's like, screw that. We've got to be done with that kind of, like, sabotaging talk and just be like, hey, that didn't work. Or, hey, I learned that. So, and then move on with your goal. And the cool thing that, like, I'm really proud of the things that we've done is when we have failed, we've really used those failures and those opportunities where if we see someone else starting in real estate or however it is, hey, let's share some things that worked for us. Maybe those things will work for you. And so we don't want to, like, cripple your creativity. But if we see some things happening or if we think you need a resource, we're going to share it.
Absolutely.
And use it as you want. Like, it made me so happy. Someone on our team went to the accountant, the Business by Design last week. And I was so thrilled that she went there because she is in year 1 of her career. And had we started at Business by Design year 1 of our career, we would have had things set up differently.
Just a little bit.
Just a lot of it.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm so thrilled. Like, that's something that maybe, like, I've considered a failure on. Like, hey, I'm going to share this failure So maybe you don't have to stumble as much as we did. But if you stumble, get back up.
And that kind of brings me into what your why needs to be stronger than your quit.
Yeah.
And you're passionate about, say, this business by design thing because we understand. We've been there. Our why is stronger than her ability to say, I'm not going there because, no, you're going.
Yeah.
So when you are setting yourself up for the future,
Yeah.
when you're setting your goals, when you're setting your 90-day rocks, your why needs to be stronger than the weight of that rock. It needs to be stronger than the wanting of to quit, because to quit is easy. But if you set up yourself with the why, with the reason, with the purpose that's stronger than your quit, there's no way you're not going to finish. There's a gentleman that we just saw speaking, and I'm going to draw a blank on his name. I apologize. Daryl, the smile guy. Fantastic. He's a gentleman that does not look like he would run a marathon. Those are his words, not mine. I am also the gentleman that looks like he would not run a marathon. And he said that he signed up for a marathon a few years back for a team in training for kids with leukemia. And
Daryl Davis.
Daryl Davis, thank you. And Daryl said his why was to help those kids that had a cancer. His why was stronger than his want to quit. Mm-hmm. And it was just amazing and inspiring that he ran that marathon in like 6 hours and 42 minutes. And he set his why so strong that the thought of quitting destroyed him, and there's no way he could do it. So when you pick your rocks, when you pick your goals, the why and the reason for them has to be so strong that you would there's no way you're going to let yourself down, because they're so important to you. And there's nothing wrong with picking a rock that is maybe unreasonable to other people, or maybe other people don't understand it. Guess what? They don't have to understand it. They don't have to understand what your goals are, what your mindset is, and what your thought process is. They do have to respect it, though. But just going on a rabbit hole, going on a tangent, I get so passionate about this.
Yep.
So when you pick your goal, when you pick your rock, you need to make sure that your why for that reason is stronger than any quit.
And I also think, too, is if you, for some reason, picked the wrong rock,
set that sumbiscuit down.
Set it down and pick what really matters to you. I think that's really important to know, that you can switch.
Yes.
Now, you don't want to be like a constant switcher.
No.
Like, oh, new rock. No, but it is like really just take that time to reflect, to make sure that you're focusing in on the right things and in the right steps, so you actually can build the momentum, gain the traction, and really accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. Because when I think about where I was, once again, a year ago, I made progress. So I don't want to say that I didn't make progress. But had I been a little bit more thoughtful in my progress, I could have made a lot more. I'm very proud of how far we've come. But I think, watch out 2020, because I don't think 2020 knows what's going to hit it.
Every 90 days, our 90 days have gotten better.
Yes.
Because we can really focus in more on what our goal is.
Yeah.
And we have shifted our rocks every 90 days. But every time we make a shift, it's for the better.
Yeah.
And it's because we don't know what we don't know. Mm-hmm. And it's always a moving target, what we want to accomplish. So you just, as long as your next 90 days are better than your last, and the next are better than those, and the next are better than those, and as long as you're doing that, as long as you're making progress, you're doing the right thing.
And also, I think I'm going to kind of wrap up with this thought, if you're okay with that, unless you want to talk about more things.
We'll see what happens.
Oh, okay. Comparing. And I think that's where, like, as my perfectionistic ways, stop comparing. Mm-hmm. And that is so easy to say and so hard to do.
Yes.
But there have been times where I'll be like, I'll just compare, whatever it is. I'll compare houses, cars,
yeah.
Like all these things. And all that is doing is stealing the joy of where I am right now today.
Yes.
it's one thing to like have a goal and to drive by those houses and be like, I'm gonna live there. Like that's my goal. But it's not gonna be comparing like, oh, if I only had this money,
Right.
I'll be able to buy that. No, because your if onlys will keep you back.
Absolutely.
Like, if only I could sell one more house. No, because you're going to sell one more house and something else is going to come up.
Yep. What next?
So it's like, have those goals, but don't compare.
Correct. Because my rock is not the same as yours.
No.
And you might think my rock is a tiny little pebble, but to me it's a giant mountain.
Yeah.
You just never know what somebody else is going through.
Yep. So it's like, if we can just have a little bit more compassion, stop comparing. And really, there was something I was going to say. Shoot. But that comparison piece is just really important. And I know I personally get in that cycle of comparing and not feeling good enough. Push that cycle and like throw it away and just be really grateful for who you are every day and how you show up. And just know you're doing the best you can.
I love that. Did you hear that, everybody? She was talking to you, that you're listening right now.
And I probably need to just put that on repeat so I can tell myself that.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, just give yourself some grace and be okay with where you're at today.
Yeah, but never stop trying to improve.
No, because every little step
Absolutely.
is progress. And as long as we keep taking steps, even the tiniest of steps, we're going somewhere. And I think that's the other thing is, so often it's like I just see the end goal, the end game where I want to get to, and I just see like way too many steps to get there. It's like, no, just take it in bite-sized pieces and just start, and you're going to get there. And maybe you're not going to get where you thought you were headed, but you're going to be somewhere better because you're going where you're supposed to go for yourself.
And that's a really hard concept for people to understand is you are where you're supposed to be, and you will end up where you're supposed to be.
Yep.
And that's like some like hippie, like, oh, the world is vibing and karma and all that. But it's true. You will end up where you're supposed to be.
Yep.
And if you want to be somewhere, you work for it and you'll get there. I'm not saying that just because, oh, I'm supposed to be a millionaire one day, I'm going to win the lottery. No, that's not how it works, okay?
I mean, that would be nice.
That would be nice.
But that's not realistic.
That's not how it works. That's not how it works. You are where you're supposed to be, and you will end up where you're supposed to be, as long as you make sure to continue to set proper expectations and goals for yourself.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like a load of crap, but it's the
I
100%
bet
truth.
a year ago I would have been like, okay, Will, what are you smoking? And
Right.
you're just going to be like, the self-development smoke is what I'm smoking.
Well, I would highly recommend that if you have these rocks, these massive rocks. Like I have one. I have a financial goal that I wrote down on our mirror with Sharpie over a year ago, and Sarah thought I was absolutely bananas for writing it down. And guess what? That rock's about to be a pebble in my pocket, because when you believe, my why is so strong. There's no quit in me whatsoever when it comes to this. And I wrote it down on a permanent Sharpie on our mirror, and I see it every day. I see it every day. And if you have a rock that you want to beat up, you better see it every day. You better have it written down. You better visually see what you're trying to accomplish, because out of sight, out of mind, yeah, it works for dirty socks under the bed, but it does not work for the goals that you're trying to accomplish in your life.
No, I 100% agree.
Yeah, get me going.
So as we wrap up this podcast today, what are some books that you've read that you really like lately?
Well, so Gino Wickman, I do believe it's Traction. I think that's what it is. Whatever. Gino Wickman, Traction has been a big one of mine recently. I've also, Michael Hyatt, Focus, Power to Focus. I'm saying it wrong. Hold on, I'm going to turn this off right here. Got to go podcast or Facebook Live. Hold on.